Now on News 4, we are live in Brooklyn, where a man accused of shooting an NYPD officer in Crown Heights just made his first court appearance. And an explosive mystery, the quest to unlock the reasons for this morning's blast in Nashville and find out who might have been in that RV. And storm cleanup. Power crews are working hard to restore power on Christmas Day, but for some neighborhoods, they're facing a holiday weekend without electricity, and a cold one. Thanks so much for joining us, and Merry Christmas to you. I'm Adam Kuperstein. That wind, the rain, those are gone, but the Christmas storm did knock out power to hundreds of thousands of people in our area. The good news is the power is already back on for a lot of folks. In Westchester, around 1,900 Con Ed customers are still without power tonight, though. This was the scene earlier today along Milton Road and Oakland Beach Avenue in Rye. A section of the road there was closed because of the storm, knocked down some power lines there. More than 500 homes in this part of Rye lost power. In New Jersey, the storm's so powerful, it split a tree in half, with one half crashing down onto a house in River Edge. The person who lives there tells us that tree hit the room that he was sleeping in, and fortunately, he wasn't hurt and nobody else was either. A lot of trees came down in this storm. In fact, News 4's Phil Lipof is in Paramus tonight in front of one of the many that just couldn't hold up to that wind, Phil.
Adam, you're right, and this is a pretty good representation of what you're talking about here in New Jersey. They call this the Garden State for a reason, because we have all these beautiful trees everywhere, but when the storms move in and we have wind like we did last night, even the biggest of trees can be torn up by their roots right out of the sidewalk and tossed onto the home behind me. This happened all across the tri-state. This storm was so powerful, even caused water main breaks like the one just up the street. Almost 24 hours after a powerful storm tore through the tri-state, this crew is still trying to fix a water main break here in Paramus, half a block away from this.
The loud gust you hear as if a freight train is coming through.
Joseph Correa's in-laws were asleep when it happened.
My first thought was to run right over because our house is in town also.
But everyone was okay, so he waited until daylight, and when he got here, he found a small water main break near the house as well, unrelated. Certainly not alone. Hundreds of thousands woke up without power this Christmas. North of the city, Rockland County in New Hempstead, the wind took down this tree, crushing 2 cars and part of the roof of a house. After dark, a West Nyack dry ice distribution center to help keep food cold.
At least we know we don't have to throw out a refrigerator and freezer full of food.
Back in New Jersey, Stephen Singh was without power too in Teaneck, looking to get some heat on his food.
It's just ribeye steak and asparagus.
Yeah, asparagus wrapped in bacon. Talk about making the best of it. And at G&G Liquors on Teaneck Road, this little generator was keeping them in business big time.
We're always open, never close.
Manager Bradley Kim isn't kidding, making sales all day in the dark until power was restored around 5.
It's not a Merry Christmas at all.
What do you think about 2020?
2020, it was a
long indeed, but looking at that huge tree on his in-laws' house, Joseph thinks about all that has been lost this year and puts today in perspective.
It's something that we are it's beyond our control. We just have to count our blessings. It could have been a lot worse.
And just within the last 5 minutes or so, they've wrapped up work on that water main break here. The number of power outages have been changing all night long. Right now, as it stands, about 33,000 customers throughout the tri-state are without power, 7,000 here in New Jersey alone. And it is going to be a cold night as the storm moved out. The temperatures began to drop. Adam, it's cold out here now. We're live in Paramus. Phil Lipof, News 4 New York.
Yeah, going to be an issue. Phil, thank you. In Connecticut, some people in the western part of the state may not have their power turned back on until tomorrow. Right now, Eversource says about 6,000 customers are without electricity. They say most of the state will have service restored in the next few hours, but the company says the storm damage in western Connecticut is just more complex, so it's going to take longer to repair. And here's the issue with those power outages. This weekend is going to be a lot chillier than the past couple of days. Storm Team 4's Dave Price is here with us, and it happened fast, too, Dave.
It did. The temperatures have really begun to dive right now. And let's begin our weather by telling you, if you're going outside, do like our friend Phil Lipof showed you at the top of the show. That jacket, the scarf, the gloves, the temperature, nothing to joke about as we head through the overnight. Everything that's on the ground in the form of water right now, with these temperatures below the freezing mark, will now begin to freeze up. Dangerous conditions on roadways, sidewalks, porches, and then that thermometer stays below 32 degrees or right at it as we head into tomorrow, with sunshine not helping us out. The storm system is gone, the wind's still around, and the cold temperatures are here to stay for a while. It feels like it's 21 degrees outside right now. Ignore that thermometer because it's those west winds still at 22 miles per hour that are going to be problematic. As we take a look at the wind gust forecast, things stay like they are through the night, and the temperature only goes down, feeling like it's in the teens in the city, single digits to the north and west. Full forecast coming up. We'll tell you when that warm-up finally gets here, Adam.
Okay, thank you, Dave. And this is new tonight. A man accused of shooting an NYPD officer just made his first appearance in court. News 4's Adam Harding was at that hearing. He's live in downtown Brooklyn with what we learned and also the gear, Adam, that likely saved that officer's life.
Yeah, and police are calling this a Christmas miracle, that life vest that saved that officer's life, the 27-year-old officer's life. Within the last hour, 20-year-old William Moss was in the court behind us. We waited all day for his arraignment. When we got there, he went before a judge and remained mostly silent.
Our cameras were not allowed to record Friday's late-night arraignment. Inside the courtroom, the 20-year-old suspect, charged with attempted murder, sat behind bars and remained mostly silent. He went before a judge within the hour.
Where it penetrates the vest, approximately right here, and does not penetrate the skin.
This is the bulletproof vest that saved an officer's life Christmas Eve. The 27-year-old was responding to a domestic violence call in Crown Heights, a mother fearful of her daughter's boyfriend.
I listened to the calls myself personally. What you heard was a mother calling 911 repeatedly and essentially saying, get here quick, get here now. He's going to come over here and he's going to shoot the place up.
Investigators say as officers were speaking to the daughter, the suspect arrived and began opening fire. One bullet striking the officer in the back.
Because the NYPD was there, that woman is alive right now. Because our officer put himself in harm's way, an innocent woman is alive tonight.
The accused shooter then took off running, but surrendered a few blocks away. Police say they recovered this handgun at the scene.
We have to start asking the question, why is this happening? Why does a perp feel bold enough to shoot at a police officer? That's the question we have to ask and we have to answer. And a judge within the hour denying bond for Moss. He will go back before a judge in 5 days. We're live tonight in Brooklyn. I'm Adam Harding, News 4 New York.
Adam, thank you so much. In Nashville tonight, investigators have a lot of unanswered questions about a Christmas morning explosion. Who set it off and why? And what happened to the bomber? One thing they do know, that blast was intentional. NBC's Chris Pollone has the very latest.
New video shows the horror as people who live near the blast site emerged from their shattered apartments moments after the explosion. Buck McCoy shot this video on his phone, capturing windows blown out, water pouring down from a sprinkler system, fixtures and furniture damaged and destroyed. The blast pierced what was a quiet Christmas morning in downtown Nashville.
Say back 2 blocks, we've had some type of large explosion.
Along a few blocks on 2nd Avenue North, shattered glass, smashed bricks, burned out cars.
Heavy structural damage to multiple buildings.
It happened around 6:30 Friday morning. Police called to the area for reports of shots fired shortly before the blast.
I've also responded they encountered an RV that had a recording saying that a potential bomb would detonate within 15 minutes. Officers, upon hearing that, decided to evacuate the building.
Moments later, the RV exploded.
We do not know whether anyone was in the RV when it exploded.
My windows completely caved into my apartment complex, and it woke me up immediately. And next thing you know, all we're hearing is screams and the sirens going off.
Investigators are examining what are believed to be human remains near the blast site. They're calling the explosion an intentional act.
Now, this morning's attack on our community was intended to create chaos and fear in this season of peace and hope. But Nashvillians have proven time and time again that the spirit of our city cannot be broken.
President Trump and President-elect Joe Biden have been briefed on the investigation. Chris Pollone, NBC News.
Well, tonight, a 13-year-old girl is charged with the murder of a 35-year-old man in Jersey City. Hudson County prosecutors say Niles Holmes was shot and killed on MLK Drive more than 2 weeks ago, and they say that 13-year-old was arrested for it last night. She's now being charged as a juvenile with murder, and police say the shooting stemmed from some sort of dispute between two groups of people, but that's all they're saying. Well, the NYPD has arrested a man accused of randomly attacking an aide to Governor Cuomo in broad daylight. 28-year-old Christopher Guzman is charged with assault. The governor's office has confirmed that the woman attacked was one of Cuomo's aides. Her name, Lisa Kavanaugh. She's 51. Police say she was just walking along 3rd Avenue in Midtown yesterday when the suspect came up behind her and, without saying a word, hit her in the head with a brick and then just took off. In Queens, a community is in mourning after a woman was killed on Christmas Eve when a Lamborghini crashed into the Uber that she was riding in. Police say the Lamborghini SUV plowed into that Uber along Rockaway Boulevard in Ozone Park. And 54-year-old Rita Persaud was killed. 2 others were hurt as well. Police say after the crash, the driver got out of that Lamborghini, somehow escaped, and then ran away.
And believe that, being a responsible citizen, a responsible person, that something like this would happen and then you just leave. This is a great, great loss for the Hindu community.
Persaud was an accountant and celebrated for her singing voice with deep ties to the local Hindu community. Police are now looking for the driver of that Lamborghini. All right, still ahead here on News 4, the heroes of 2020, a real nice tribute to the brave people who are fighting so hard to get us through this coronavirus pandemic. And sliding snow, what caused some scary moments at a ski resort not too far from the city.